master from Hungary, and I welcome you to Lifetime Repertoire's Gledura's Queen's Gambit Accepted. This course is mainly about the Queen's Gambit Accepted, and that is after the moves d4, d5, c4, d takes c4. However, I also analyze the sidelines right from the second move. I believe this is an excellent course for people who like to play principled, sound chess with pretty straightforward plans. I try to explain every move of this course as much as possible, so therefore I recommend this course for all kinds of levels, from club to experts. I was a top junior player for a long time, and since then I have continued playing chess as a professional. My peak rating was 2654, and with that I was in the top 90 in the world. I decided to make a course about the Queen's Gambit Accepted because I always had a big interest in this opening ever since I was a kid. I always thought that the Queen's Gambit Accepted is one of the soundest openings ever, mainly because of its positional ideas. I analyzed the Queen's Gambit Accepted for a long time, about 2-3 months. I played a lot of online and training games for this opening, and I'm pretty positive that I grew as a chess player. So let's move on to the chapters. After d4, d5, the first chapter is about the Black Mortimer Gambit. White wants to open the center right from the second move. The second chapter is about the knight c3, knight f6, bishop b4 move, which is called the Jobava London. This is an extremely famous sideline. I recommend the move c5, and I think this is the most direct way to play this. The third chapter is the bishop g5 move, which is called the Veresov attack. White wants to make double pawns for black. The fourth chapter is about the move knight f3, knight f6, bishop g5. This is called the Torre attack. Again, the same idea. White wants to take on f6 and then make double pawns for black. The chapter 5 is about the g3 system, which is pretty popular nowadays, as Magnus Carlsen beat Jan Nepomniachtchi in game 6 in the recent World Championship match. So therefore, after that game, people started to play this system more often. White wants to follow up with bishop g2 and c4. You should definitely know how to handle this. The chapter 6 is about the move e3, and then White follows up with b3, bishop b2, bishop d3 castle. It is an extremely easy opening for White to play, so therefore you should know how to handle this with black. Chapter 7 is about the London system, which is one of the most popular sidelines in this against d4, d5. I think you should study this system a lot. I recommend the c5, e6 setup. And chapter 8, we move on to the main lines with c4, d takes c4. This is the Queen's Gambit Accepted. The move knight f3, I call this the classical Queen's Gambit Accepted. We will see that later on, that 3-4 is the sharpest move against, sharpest line against the Queen's Gambit Accepted, but this knight f3 is one of the main lines. Knight f6, and then chapter 8 is about the move knight a3 and the move g3. The move knight a3, White wants to take back the c4 pawn, it's pretty obvious. The move g3, White wants to play bishop g2, castle, and then later win back the c4 pawn. Chapter 9 is about the move queen a4, which is a pretty interesting sideline. Rapport Trihart played this against Lenier Dominguez very recently, and I think you should know this sideline as well. Chapter 10 is about the move knight c3. White follows up with e4 and then tries to win the c4 pawn back. Now we move on to 3e4. Chapter 11 is about 3e4. This is, I told you earlier, this is the sharpest line against the Queen's Gambit Accepted. I recommend the move b5, a6, a4, c6, and chapter 11 is about knight c3, b4, and the moves knight a2 and knight ce2. I cover those moves in chapter 11. Chapter 12 is about knight b1, and I think this is the critical line in 5 knight c3. White wants to take on c4, and then later on white wants to transfer its knight to b3 with knight d2, knight b3, and then on b3 the knight would control the c5 and a5 squares. Chapter 13 is about the move b3. This is a sideline that you should study a little bit, but it is not as serious as it looks. But white wants to weaken the b5 and c4 pawns. And now we move on to the main lines with a b5, c b5, knight c3. And this queen b6 move is a very fresh idea, and basically I decided to make a course because this new idea with queen b6. Recently a lot of people have been playing this because I believe this queen b6 move gives you equality after 3e4. It wasn't the case, I believe, a few years ago, because a few years ago 3e4 gave advantage for white, but this very new move queen b6 gives you the solution to equalize. So chapter 14 is about the move knight d5, white follows up with bishop f4 and then knight c7 check. Chapter 15 is about the move bishop e2. The idea is that white waits a move, and then when black plays e6, then white follows up with knight h3, knight f4, and later the f4 knight will help you or help white to break through in the center. Chapter 16 is about the move bishop e3. White will eventually play d5 and win a tempo on our queen. Chapter 17 is about the move 7b3. It is pretty straightforward. White wants to weaken the c4 and b5 pawns. Chapter 18 is about the move knight f2, knight f3, knight f6, and c3. If I remember correctly, there is a chessable course on this move by Le Kuang Lim. He recommends this setup with bishop f4 and then e3. I recommend the move e6 and then followed up with c5. If white plays the move bishop f4, then we transpose to the London system, and I also cover the move bishop g5 here. Now we move on to the classical Queen's Gambit accepted with knight f3, knight f6, e3. By the way, you don't have to worry about the move 3e3, because after 3e3, knight f6, bishop takes c4, e6, knight f3, c5, we would get the exact same position as after knight f3, knight f3, knight f6, e3, e6, bishop takes c4, c5, we got the same position. So chapter 19 is about the move castle a6 and rook e1. This is one of those rare moves that you should study a little bit. White wants to hide its bishop on f1 and also support the e4 idea. The chapter 20 is about the move to bishop g5. This is called a heads and attack. I recommend the move f6 against it because I think we can win some tempi on the bishop on g5, and later maybe play knight c6 and then e5. It depends on white. It depends on the next move for white.
The Grunfeld is a very good opening for those of you who are striving to get a double edge.
In this video we're going to look at the latest developments in the 6 bishop g5 knight off.
I'm gonna start with sort of my first official Stonewall game.
The idea is not to fight against any opponent move, prevent everything, defend and so on. No, it's just to move.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan Gustafsson and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind-the-scenes insights. See you then.
Three plus two games. So if you could challenge me to 3+2, I would most likely accept it because I am pretty slow and I like to play longer time control, but this is Blitz. It's way more fun than classical. So yeah, d5, e5, this is a slightly unusual opening, I have to say. But, black tries to finish its development, knight e4. I think I'm gonna take on e4. And then maybe it was not the right move, I'm not sure. Knight e2. I want to play knight c3 and then target the e4 pawn. Yeah, c5 is a good move because black wants to open the center and with that save the e4 pawn. So maybe bishop e3, develop a piece, takes queen d4. Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing well already because if black plays some good moves, I can be in trouble. Yeah, bishop b4 is a good move. I think I can play knight c3 and then go for this endgame, but not exactly sure. There's knight c6, long castle. And there is some problem with the e4 pawn, but black has some counterplay. I have to play faster because I am used to playing 3+2. So I try to get the bishop pair. So if black takes on d6 twice, then at least I have the bishop pair, so I should be slightly better. Takes b6, logical move, queen c2. I play f3 because I want to close the long diagonal, so that makes the b7 bishop slightly worse. Rook c8. It's very logical. b3. I want to keep my pawn structure stable. Bishop d3, developing a piece, and then I will try to develop my rook. So bishop a6 is an interesting move. I believe my opponent wants to play b5, so I will stop it with a4. I guess black has to go back to b7, otherwise the bishop on e6 is not doing much. But I have to watch out for the clock because it's already a bullet game. So it's 3 plus 2, it's much different. f5, rook e1. Maybe I will play g4 just to open the position a little bit. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure if it was the right move, but I want to weaken the dark squares. f4. Eventually I will have to use my queenside pawns because I have one more pawns on the queenside. Maybe now b4. Yes, my opponent plays well. I mean, it is already a tough game. Yeah, I don't exactly know. I have to move because I'm gonna flag. So yeah, if you could challenge me 3 plus 2, then I could explain more, because yeah, this is very fast and I cannot really explain things. So yeah, I believe I have to play h3 to not give up the pawn. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wow, yeah, I missed that. Yeah, it's really not my time control. I don't have that much time. I have to play fast. It takes. Yeah, that was almost a mouse slip. Yeah, at least I have the c pawn, so I can push that. But yeah, I mean, black should be much better here. It will. Oh, I could have taken on g6. Yeah, this is. Takes. Oh yeah, this is a draw. Okay, I flagged. I already lost in the first game, and it's really hard to talk and then play at the same time. So yeah, thank you for challenging me to 3 plus 2. I will try to play better. Alright. Knight f3. I am playing against a 2500 rated player, so he's already pretty good. I have to play good moves. Knight d7. I can play h3 or d4, c4. There are many ways to play this. It is a well-known position. I will play d4 to stop e5. Knight f6. h3. I had a game last year for this position in the European Team Championship, and I won that, so I kind of know this position, but I don't want to play my opening. So I'm gonna play some random move. maybe knight bd2. It is a logical move as well because eventually I want to play e4. Yeah, bishop d6, logical move. I think I'm gonna go e4 and then trade everything. Otherwise, it would have been strange to go rook e1 and then knight bd2, rook e1, so I had to play e4 at some point. Usually these kind of positions are slightly better for white, but black is very stable. c3. I'm gonna go a4. Sometimes it's good to gain some space on the queen side with a4, a5, so a5 is a logical move to stop that. I'm gonna go knight d2. The knight on d2 is actually very flexible because it can go to e4 and then c4. It depends on what black does here, knight c4. And I'm planning to go queen b3 after this to attack the b7 pawn. So black has to deal with that. I think there are two ways to deal with that. One of them is rook b8. Other one is knight b6. Let's see what he does here. Yeah, queen c8, he chose the third option. So I assume he wants to go h5 or e5, sorry. e5 is the logical way to follow up after queen c8 or in general. So what should I do here? I can go f4, but f4 weakens my king side a little bit, so I have to be aware of that as well. But yeah, I want to stop e5. Black cannot go c5 now, so because of the b7 pawn, I'll go knight e5 now. Yeah, I have the space advantage, so that is comfortable. Knight e7 is logical because black wants to trade off my good knight on e5. Okay, rook b8 is a logical move. I assume he wants to go b5 eventually. So I have to come up with something. Yeah, what should I do here? Maybe I can go queen a3. It is slightly strange, but I want to go knight d6. And yeah, it's not so easy to defend that. Maybe he can go queen d8. Yeah, queen d8 is a good move. And then, yeah, maybe I'm just gonna develop with rook a d1. It is usually a good idea to develop your pieces. Okay, knight b6, knight d5. I assume, okay, he takes. That's an interesting move. Yeah, I actually missed this. This was a nice move. Yeah, what should I do now? Yeah, maybe takes. And then queen c5. I mean, he has. Actually, I missed the b2 pawn. I'm not sharp today, but luckily he missed that as well. So queen g5 is a logical follow-up, queen d7 as well. I put my rook on the open file. Bishop g6, h4. Yeah, I am playing very slow, but that is because I have to explain some things as well. I'm gonna trade off that bishop because I want to eventually target the f7 pawn, and I have to trade off the bishops to do that. So yeah, b6, b5, very logical. Now I have to play rook f4 eventually because I have to do something, and I think this is very logical to target the f7 pawn. Also the a4 pawn is hanging, so maybe I can eventually take on f7, it depends on what black does. c5, okay. I think I'm gonna take. Yeah, he plays well. It's hard to play against good players. Yeah, queen b4 or rook b4 is a good move. Queen a3. Yeah, let's see what he does here. Queen c1 check. Queen g2. I assume he's gonna take, yes. And now he's threatening to take on b2 with a check. So I have to take on e5. Yes, rook b2 check. Yeah, maybe this is a draw. I don't know what to do. I have to go for the draw. I don't have time. So yeah, this is not a good start. I have to get in shape. But alright. Let's see. I have to win a game. I mean, it's really frustrating that I cannot win a game. But yeah, you have to get used to this. It's not so easy to talk and then play at the same time. And yeah, my opponents are pretty good actually. So castle, d5, I assume he's gonna play that. I had a game against Oparin Grigory a few weeks ago, where he played d5. I lost that game eventually, that was very painful, but I shouldn't have lost that for sure. So yeah, d5. So this is not a good version because black lost the tempo with bishop e7 and then bishop takes c5. So yeah, white should do really well here. So yeah, d4. I think I can play knight a4 and with that keep the d4 pawn. Bishop f5. So yeah, black has some compensation. For sure it's not enough for the equality, but yeah, it's not like this is not over obviously. So a3. I want to play b4 to stabilize my pawn on c5. So yeah, queen d5, I mean my opponent is trying to put pressure on the long diagonal. That is very logical. So I have to develop my pieces, bishop d2. Eventually I have to solve the issue with the a4 knight. So I think I'm gonna play knight b2 and then knight d3, because my knight was doing nothing on a4. Let's see what he does here. We actually played last time, so this is his time to revenge. Knight e5. So yeah, I mean, taking on f3 is not so dangerous as of right now, but maybe later on. So I have to watch out for that. Maybe d3 is an idea that he can do. Bishop f4, I'm trying to force some trade. I mean, I want to trade off some pieces. Yes, takes is logical. And then, I mean, I could have taken with the bishop as well, but I think this is slightly better because later on I can use my bishop on g2. After I move my bishop from f4, then I can play f4 and then use the long diagonal. Okay, so this is a blunder because the e7 bishop was hanging. Yeah, black had to play rook e8, and then I would have gone bishop d2 or something like that, or rook e5 maybe. So it was already a good position. Yeah, this happens. I mean, sometimes you blunder, but the important thing is not to blunder too much. So yeah, black still has the d2 pawn, which I have to deal with. Yeah, I mean, I have many good moves, obviously. I am a piece up. But sometimes I find a way to not win such positions. So I hope I will not do that here. Yeah, I try to close the d file. Yeah, queen d4 is a logical move. And then I wanted to play bishop e5 to hit the queen and the knight as well. Also, I protect my knight on b2. The queen actually has only one square, which is kind of funny because it is in the middle of the board, but queen d5 is the only move. And then, yeah, we'll see. I can play f4, but then maybe bishop e4. Yeah, maybe I'll just play queen e2. Simple move. I want to just develop. And yeah, rook e8 is ran. That would be a blunder because bishop takes f6. So yeah, rook d7 is the logical move. Now I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm just gonna take on d7, and then if knight takes d7, then bishop c3 will win the d2 pawn. So yes, queen takes d7 had to be played. Rook d1, and then I'm gonna target the d2 pawn. But yeah, he's putting up a good fight. Other than the blunder, it was an interesting game. I mean, it's not over yet, but I assume after taking the d2 pawn, I should be bringing this home. Yeah, knight d5. I can take with both the queen and the rook, but maybe I'm gonna choose the queen because I want to play f4, and yeah, this pin on the d file on the knight is actually more unpleasant for black. So yeah, queen e7. I'm gonna develop my knight. Rook d7. I think I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm sure that I could have played many other moves, but good game. Thank you for the game. All right. So let's see. Yup. 3 + 2. Somehow I am getting white all the time, which is, I don't complain, but I can also play with black as well. Maybe he is not here. If he's not here, then I'm gonna accept another challenge. Oh no, he is here. Alright. Yeah, c4 e5. The English bishop b4. It is a well-known opening. Knight d5 is the other way to handle this. It is basically a Sicilian, but reversed color. Yeah, d takes c3 is also possible. And yeah, I'm gonna go e4 and then d3. With that, I will have a strong center. Knight, oh yeah, c6 is actually the best move because black has to play d5 and play in the center. Yes, rook e8. Yeah, he's playing good moves. Yeah, I'm gonna go castle. I'm just gonna keep it simple. Takes, and then play d3. I mean, the position is probably equal, but yeah, I have the bishop pair, so I hope that I can use that eventually. Yeah, I'm not so familiar with these kind of positions, so I have to think a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna go bishop b2 because I want to eventually play c4, not right away because knight b4 would be unpleasant. So yeah, bishop g4 is logical. I'm gonna go h3 to ask what black wants here. Bishop e6 is a logical move. Yeah, I don't know if I can go c4 because c4 knight b4 is a little bit annoying. So I can go a3 to prevent knight b4, but that looks also strange. a3 and c3. So what else can I do here? Yeah. I mean, I think black will follow up with queen d7 and then rook a d8. So black has really easy moves. And yeah, I have to also play faster and logical moves because I can get into trouble. Yeah, queen a5. I didn't expect this move. I was expecting queen d7 because that would win a tempo. Yeah, rook a d8. I mean, black is still doing completely fine, obviously, but I still have the bishop pair. But yeah, I have to play faster. Yeah, I'm gonna go a3. Maybe this is very ugly, but this is what it is. Yeah, h6. I think I'm gonna go for this endgame. I mean, I think black should be fine here, but I hope that the bishop pair will give me some chances eventually. And then I try to open the position since I have the bishop pair. And when you have the bishop pair, you want to open the position. Takes. Bishop f7. I'm gonna go h4. Yeah, my opponent wants to play knight b3 and then use the d5, maybe some knight takes c4 afterward. So I have to watch out. Yeah, it was actually a good move. Yeah, let's see what can I do here. Yeah, I have to move because I'm gonna flag. So yeah, I'm gonna go rook f2 and then maybe rook f1 to make sure that the d file is, yeah, actually it's not so easy. He's playing good moves and I have no time. I am playing very slow. I have to change that. I don't exactly know if this was a blunder or not, but I assume it was. But maybe black is in time to save this. I should be winning here. Rook f1. But yeah, I'm sure that I will find a way not to win the material, and I think I did. So takes. Yeah, I'm still better, but it's not so easy because I have no time. Yeah, I want to be a pawn up, but it is not over, obviously. Black has good drawish chances. Takes, check. Knight e7, and then I'm gonna push the pawn. I know that he has knight f3, but I think I can run out of the checks, and I'm threatening h7. So let's see what he does here. Yeah, right. Check, and then I'm gonna go knight g6, h7, and this should be winning. Yeah, it was not an easy game. I have to play faster and better. But my opponents are playing good moves. Yeah, okay, this is still not over. So I have to finish this. But once I get to activate my king, then I should be completely winning. Yes, and now I'm gonna take the other pawn, and yeah, it should be over. But yeah, this was a tough game as well. Thank you, Yap, for the game. Alright. We made a draw last time, and yeah, maybe I shouldn't have. I should have played someone else. Sorry about that. I will do that next time. So c4. Yeah, I'm gonna go d6. Sometimes I play this King's Indian kind of opening with knight bd7 and then e5. I think eventually we will transpose to the King's Indian defense. I can play with bishop e7, but that is even worse. So I try to play with g6 and then bishop g7. Obviously this is not a very good opening, but sometimes you can play this if you don't want to play long theory. Yeah, bishop e3. Yeah, queen e7. There are many moves with black, like knight g4, h6, c6, but none of them are good. So white is better here, but white has to know how to play these kind of positions. So yeah, d takes e5 is logical. I could take with the pawn as well, but then knight d5 would come. Alright. So I'm gonna take with the pawn and then knight d5. Yes, I expected this. Queen d8. Logical moves. I mean, yeah, this is very drawish, but sometimes the d4 square can be weak. So yeah, c5 is a good move because white wants to eventually take the d6 square, and also bishop c4 can be a plan as well. So I'm gonna play rook d8 and then play this slow. But it's not what I was hoping for with King's Indian. So yeah, bishop c4. I wanna go h5. Sometimes I can win some space on the king side. Maybe king h7 is an idea with bishop h6. It is not easy to say if king h7 bishop h6 is a good plan or not, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's see what he does here. Yes, he makes me take on c4, which is logical. I'm gonna go queen e7. Yes, and this is a very dry position. Nothing much going on, but sometimes you have to play these kind of positions to win. But I don't think I'm gonna win this, to be honest. Yeah, so queen b3 is a good move. What should I do here? I can go bishop h6, which would be a very logical move. Should I do that simply? Yeah, I'm gonna exchange the bishops. But yeah, it is nothing special. Yeah, rook d6. Yeah, can I take on d6? It is a good question. I think I can. And then claim that this d6 pawn can be a weakness as well if white takes with a pawn. Well, let's see what he does. He can obviously take with the rook as well. But yeah, this is not much. Yeah, rook d6 was a safer choice. Yeah, I'm a little bit stuck here. Rook c8. At least I want to make sure that the d7 square is protected, and then I'm gonna play b6. Maybe eventually play h4 because that can be beneficial for me later on. And luckily he cannot play g3 and then h4 because that would improve his position. So yeah, let's see what he comes up with. Yeah, queen e3 is a logical move. I think I'm gonna play h4 now. When the queen a3 was logical because after b takes c5, queen takes c5 is possible. And yes, now it's not easy. Like, what should I play here? It's not easy to improve my position. But yeah, I'm gonna try something because this is a blitz game and yeah, I'm here to have some fun, and hopefully you will have some fun as well. Takes, rook c7. I mean, maybe eventually I can go rook b7, but most likely not. Alright. Queen g5 is logical, I think. Yeah, maybe my opponent had rook takes c6, which was a draw, I think. But now I can take the c5 pawn, I believe. And with that I also hit the f2 pawn, so this was obviously not... Oh, but obviously I blundered this. Alright, that's a good job. Yeah, maybe I am winning here, but it's not so easy to see how. Yeah, 4 check. Yeah, I think I can do this, but this is also dangerous for me as well. But I think it works out because queen f8, then king f6, and my king will find safety. Yeah, this was a good move. Yeah, I almost flagged. I have to... Yeah, I have to... Okay, that was very good for me to trade off the rooks, because it is way easier for me to just play this endgame. So yeah, it was a tough game again, but luckily I managed to somehow win it. It was a miracle. Thank you for the game again. Alright, let's play another game. Oops, PT. Alright, I'm gonna go e4. I'm not an e4 player, but since I usually don't play my openings here, I'm gonna go with e4 and play the Sicilian. I mean, to be honest, I played e4 when I was a kid, and I have some experience, but not as much as I would like to have. So knight c6. It is not so common nowadays, I believe. Everybody goes the knight or for something else, but yeah, this is also very possible. Bishop g5 is the main line. e6, queen d2, and then white goes long castle. And I'm gonna play f4, and then yeah, bishop e7 is one of the main lines. There is also h6, bishop h4, and then knight takes c4, queen e1. That was the other line, but let's not get into details. So bishop e7, I believe knight f3 is the move here. b5, and then, if I'm not mistaken, then bishop takes f6 is the move. I know that Sarich Ivan has a chessable course on this, and he would know what to play here. Let's say that bishop f6 is a move. I hope that bishop takes f6, queen takes d6 is a pawn up. I'm not quite sure. Sometimes these kind of pawn sacrifices are good for black. It depends on the position. But yeah, black has some issues with its king on e8, so therefore maybe bishop takes c3 was not really a good move. Knight e2, I could have gone knight a4 as well, but I think the knight on e2 is better. Rook a7 is a creative move, defending the d7 bishop. I am actually very impressed with that move, but I have a pawn up, and that should give me some advantage. Yes, a5 is the way to play. Black has to create some counterplay on the king side. So queen e3, I try to give my rook some purpose on the d file. Also the queen is on d8. I also I'm hitting the a7 rook as well. I mean, not as of right now, but maybe in some lines. Like knight e5 is a possibility right now, because knight takes e5, then I take the rook on a7. So it's not so easy to handle the threats here, because if rook c7, then I can take on d7 with the rook. So yeah, black has some issues here. Let's see what he does here. Yeah. I mean, I don't really see a move for black, but maybe I don't see something. Yes, I mean, if rook c7 does not work out, then yeah, black is, I believe, lost, because yeah, with this, the d7 bishop is undefended, so I can just simply take it with the rook or with the knight, both. I think I'm gonna trade off the rooks. I could also take on c6 after rook takes d7, but it wouldn't make sense, since here I am just a piece up. So yeah, actually this was maybe not the right way, because I let black play rook d1 at the end, so this was actually alright. So this is a tricky move, because if I take on c6, which is tempting, then bishop takes e3, knight takes a5, and then rook d1 is a possibility. So it was a nice move, I have to say. Bishop c5. I think I'm just gonna, yeah, what am I doing? Queen a1 is not a good move, but yeah, since I am a piece up, I should be winning, but yeah, queen e1 was obviously not. Yeah, this was a blunder. Yeah, queen e1 was not a good move, because it was blocking my rook on h1, but yeah, anyway, it was an interesting game. Alright, I'm gonna go and accept Sweet Harmony. He is 2800, so he should be a really good player. d4, d5. Is he gonna play my repertoire? No, he's playing the Slav, which is one of my main repertoires, actually, with black. So I know some stuff. Sorry. e6 is not the main move, but it is possible. It is usually very solid with black, with bishop d6, and then just simply developing with knight g7 castle, but it gives white the opportunity to play f4, and with that bishop d3, knight f4 should give me some advantage, nothing much, but it should be easier for me to play this position. But I have to prove the advantage. because black will just simply play bishop d7 or f6 bishop d7. f6 is usually a good move because black has to cover the e5 square. So yeah, he goes f6. That's a good move, castle, and then bishop d7, exactly. Yeah, and then now I have to come up with a plan, with a good plan. So yeah, I'm just gonna develop rook c1 and just play maybe a3, and then he goes knight a5 perhaps. Yeah, it is an extremely solid position. Maybe I can go e4, but then the f4 pawn is under attack, so I prepare e4. Because after e4, the f4 pawn is protected, and after d takes d4, so yeah, knight a5 is a logical move, but I think I can play b3 to protect the c4 square. And yes, I mean, knight c6, I mean, black lost a tempo with this, so it was probably not a good move, knight a5, knight c6, but still the black position is very stable. But since I told you guys that I will play e4, I'm gonna do that here. And let's see what my opponent does. So yeah, if he takes, I take back with the knight. And if he wouldn't take, then I would have gone e5, I believe. So yeah, knight c5. I hit the bishop, and also the pawn on e6 is questionable. So rook c d8, yeah, logical, and I think I'm gonna keep putting pressure on the e6 pawn with bishop c4. And let's see what he does here. If he goes knight d5, which is a logical way to handle the e6 pawn, then I can go f5 and hit the e6 pawn, and with that the d5 knight is under attack. So I should be doing really well here. So rook e8, logical. I'm just gonna simply play rook e1 and again hit the e6 pawn. Yeah, this was a good move because black wants to go knight c7, but I should be doing really well here. F takes c6. Yeah, this should be losing because of knight d7, I believe. And yeah, both bishop takes d5 and e takes d5 should be winning. But I think this is the easiest, because I'm threatening to take on d7 with a check, and now the e8 rook is hanging. So yeah, thank you for the game, sweet harmony. Let's see, I'm gonna accept money king. Did we play last time? Yes, we did play last time. So this is your time to revenge last time. d4, d5. I'm gonna play the London this time. I usually don't play this, but it is a common sideline. So here's bishop f5. I'm gonna go c4. Usually the early bishop f5 is not the most precise way to handle this. Maybe I can go queen b3 and then immediately hit the b7 pawn. Yes, if black has to play b6, that is bad news. I mean, not like it's not like terrible for black, but usually black wants to keep its pawn structure healthy with c6 and queen b6 or something like that, but yeah, it is possible as well. I don't know if I can take on d5 and then play knight b5. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, let's see if this works out or not. I think it does. I can go bishop b5 as well, and then c6. I can take on b8. So yeah, bishop b5, and if bishop d7, then I can take on d5. I think that works out. Not 100%. Yeah, maybe bishop d7 was possible actually. So yeah, I mean, obviously I cannot take on b5 because bishop d7 would win material with black. So bishop e5, and if black goes b4, which I expect, then I can take on f6, I believe. Yeah, I believe I can take on f6, and g takes f6. I can take on d5 with the queen as well, and the knight as well. I will decide after g takes. If bishop takes f6, then I can obviously take the pawn on b4 or take the knight or the pawn on d5. I think I'm gonna take the pawn on d5 because usually it is better to take the central pawn than some pawn on the queen side or the king side. Alright, so I'm gonna finish my development. I could have taken on b4, but I think it was not worth it. a5, logical. I'm gonna go castle. I finished my development and then take on f6. Alright, logical move. I'm now forced to take on f6. And I can go knight d5 or knight d5, sorry, and knight d2. I think I'm just gonna keep it simple. Maybe knight e5 would have been slightly better. Bishop b7 is the move that I'm expecting. Yes, exactly. And then I'm just gonna develop my rook to c1. And if black goes queen g5, which is usually the follow-up in these kind of structures when the bishop is on b7, and queen g6 is the other, and now I close the long diagonal with f3. And eventually my pawns in the center should give me huge advantage. Rook d8, black stops me from playing e4. Also bishop d5 is a potential threat. Let's see what can I do here. I mean, I have many moves, but what is the easiest, I would say? Maybe just a3, why not? I didn't want to face bishop d5 and then the a2 pawn can be a target in some positions. So if bishop d5, now I can simply move my queen to c2, and obviously trading queens would make my position much easier. Let's see what he does here. Yeah, bishop d5, queen c2. Yeah, I don't suggest that black trades off the queens because, yeah, as I said, that would make my position and my plans much easier. So if black plays something like queen e6, then I would play a queen. Maybe e4 is possible as well. Yeah, maybe e4, yeah. Queen g5, if e4, then queen e3 can be slightly unpleasant. It would have been fine as well, but I think queen d3 is more stable. And yeah, yes, yeah, I mean, b takes a3 is the move I was expecting. h5, this is, I have to say, is a very good move, because usually when black is trying to create some kind of counterplay or attack against my king on g1, then h5, h4 can be a very useful plan or moves. Yeah. So bishop e6, I'm gonna go d5. Since black doesn't have the e pawn, I can simply play d5. So yeah, h4 is the right move. f4, I follow up with I mean, I'm pushing my central pawns because I have more than black does. So yeah, now I'm gonna move, maybe rook c6 is a good move as well, because now I can pin the queen, or the bishop, sorry. So yeah, now I have to move my queen because the d5 pawn was hanging because it was a pin. Yeah, he is a very tricky player, I have to say. Queen f3. I mean, I have 2 pawns up, so I should be completely winning, but I have to watch out for some tactics. So g6, I'm gonna play knight c4 now. Yeah, I have to play faster, so I wouldn't flag. I'm gonna take this pawn. I take this pawn as well, and then play knight c6. And now I hit both the rook and both rooks. Yeah. Yeah, he's putting up a good fight, but yeah, eventually I have to win this. But yeah, I mean, this bishop on f5 is actually annoying. It's not as easy as I thought it would be. Yeah, I had to do this because black doesn't have the threats here. So okay, now I can queen and win this with some extra material. Thank you for the game. It was a really good game, I believe. Alright. Let's accept Zavich, because I see that you have challenged me many times. So e4. I'm gonna go all behind. Sometimes I play this. It is not a very good opening, but in Blitz you can play some slightly bad openings to win some time and make the position more complicated. Actually, Magnus Carlsen played this with black, so it is not completely bad, I believe. If he plays something, then it cannot be terrible. So I go bishop b4. This is a very dangerous line with white. I mean, white has nice central pawns, and with that, white can create serious threats or plans. But I'm trying to make this pawn structure weaker. So with c takes c5, c takes d4, I made a weakness on e5. So later on I can play knight d7 and hit the e5 pawn. So knight d7. Knight f3, logical move. I think I'm gonna keep developing my pieces. Rook c8, hit the c4 pawn. Sometimes you just have to play simple moves to make your position better. So b3, for a second I thought that knight takes e5 works, but it does not, because knight e5, then knight takes e5, and the c3 knight is not under attack. So what can I play here? I can play queen c7 to hit the e5 pawn again, which is very logical, I believe. I have this funny move, knight to d5. Should I play this? I think it works out, so why not? With that I hit the c3 knight, and c takes d5, then I hit, I mean not hit, but I take the c3 knight. So if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not completely mad, then I can take the pawn on e5, but yeah, so knight takes e5, let's calculate. Knight e5, knight takes e5, knight takes c3, knight takes g6, h takes g6. I can also take on d4 actually. After knight takes g6, queen takes d4, and knight e2, knight d4, but maybe that's not the best. And maybe that's the best, so yeah. Wait. Knight takes c5, c takes d5. Yes, I am completely mad. So yeah, that does not work out. I just lost 1 minute. So yeah, let's play some simple moves. I thought I was being cool, but I wasn't. Sometimes it's just better to play easy moves fast, especially in blitz. So yeah, queen c7, and eventually I want to target the e5 pawn, but first I play b5, so maybe I can create some weaknesses in the white position. So bishop takes c4 is the right move, because b takes c4 would have created another weakness. Knight b6, I hit the bishop. And I can go and play queen c5, or just simply play rook d8, but I think this endgame is very unpleasant for white because of the e5 weakness. That's a long-term weakness, and that can be very unpleasant to defend. So yeah, rook e1 is a logical move. Let's see. I don't know why, but I want to play g6. I know that this is a very strange move, but I want to follow up with bishop takes f3, and then g6 is actually a good move, because it just I mean, it's hard to explain, but I think it is better to play g6 than h6, because it takes some squares away from the bishop. So yeah, bishop e2. Should I play knight d5, or rook c2 is a decent move? Should I just develop? I think I'm just gonna develop. I expected this move, and then I'm gonna penetrate with rook c2. Yes, and this knight on b6 is actually a good piece, so yeah, white had to go for this. Yeah, now white can target my knight on b6, and white is also 2 minutes up on the clock, so I have to play faster and better. Yes, I think I messed this up slightly, nothing serious, but yeah, bishop c6, is a good move. Rook c3, I hit the pawn on b3. And now knight c4 works out because of the pin on the pawn. And with that, I hit the pawn on e5 and the rook on d6. Now this was obviously a blunder, but yeah, these kind of blunders happen in blitz games. I mean, the game is not over, but I should be able to win this if I play some good moves. We have about 30 minutes left, so I try to play as many games as possible. But first, let's finish this. So let's see what he does here. All right. Yeah, I mean, he chose the best plan with bishop b5, and with that, well, yeah, I mean, he will create a passed pawn on a5, which is the best for white, because I'm not even sure if this is winning for me or not, but it should be. It should be good. And this a5 was a slight mistake, I believe, because now I hit the pawn, and if a6, then knight b6 hits the rook and the bishop and the pawn. So, and yeah, there is no other good move than a6. I mean, not good move, but yeah, if he would have kept the bishop on b5 and pushed the pawn, then it wouldn't have been so easy. I mean, it is not easy as well, but it made my position much easier. So now, luckily, I can give a check and then move my knight to d5, check. And yeah, with that I'm 2 pawns up. And now I pin the rook, and yeah, this endgame should be easily winning. Usually it is very easy to play with the knight in endgames. I mean, not in every endgame, but in blitz, I would say. So I create 2 passed pawns and then slowly push them. And this is just a matter of time to win this knight g6, knight f4. And with that I hit the other pawn. Thank you for the game, Zavic. It was definitely not easy. Let's play Imperator 60 from Britain. Is he still here? I hope he is, because he sent me a challenge a while ago. But if he is not, I'm gonna play with someone else. Let's wait a bit. Okay, he is here. Good. So d4. I'm gonna play my repertoire, which I made for chess about the Queen's Gambit accepted repertoire. If you have time and if you are interested, then check my course out. I have like 23 hours of videos there, and I explain everything in great detail. So yeah, e4, b5. Last time when I played Banter Blitz, I had this I had this opening with 4 knight c3. It is a really sharp opening. If I go bishop b7 now, that would be a slight mistake, because white would go e6, and with that white would create a great attack against the black king. So a b5, knight b6, I have to protect the c4 pawn. Yeah, a takes, and I think I can take with the knight, why not? And then I follow up with bishop b7. So yeah, these kind of structures are always very interesting to play, because yes, I have the weak c4 pawn, but the d4 pawn also can be weak, and I have the lovely d5 square and the long diagonal, so it is balanced. But if I play good moves, then I should. And yes, and he plays queen d2. Everyone knows this maneuver with queen d2, queen f4, and then queen g2 to hit the g7 pawn. It is a really good maneuver, and last time, if I'm not mistaken, I had some big trouble. So I'm gonna go knight b4, and with that I am forcing. Okay, queen f4, this was a blunder. I'm sorry about that, because it would have been an interesting game if you have taken my rook and then played queen f4. Alright, thank you for the game. It was unfortunate that you hang the pawn. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna accept dangerous ride. I know that we have played last time and it was a very interesting game, so I am expecting nothing less. e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. It is, I would say, that the main lines, this is the main line nowadays, bishop b5, the Rossolimo. It is, I think, very unpleasant to play against with black, because usually you want to go for the main lines with black, but this bishop b5 makes the opening rather unpleasant for you. So a6, I can go bishop d3, and then c3 I can go bishop c4. I think I want to go bishop c4, and then b5 will come eventually, and I have to go back to b3. Let's see what he does here. I mean, if he doesn't go b5 at some point, then I would be happy, because usually white has the center in these kind of positions, and black has the long diagonal at least. So yeah, bishop b7. I'm not exactly sure if I can take on d4 and bishop e4, knight c3, and then some d5. Maybe that would work out, but I think I'm just gonna keep playing simple moves with rook e1, defending the e4 pawn. Yeah, this move I was thinking about, but I thought that it should not be so good, because queen f3, knight f6, and then I can take the pawn on d3, and with that win a pawn, because knight takes e4, then just simple rook takes e4. So I'm just gonna move my queen, and then maybe I can play maybe I can play d4 immediately, but maybe just d3 was also an option. Yeah, so I am a pawn up, and yeah, I'm trying to read the chat, but it's not so simple. It's not so simple because yeah, I have to play and I have to explain stuff. It is extremely hot in Hungary. I don't know about you, but yeah, I'm sweating. So bishop h4, g3, and I'm not exactly sure what black wanted with this. So knight d4, I think f3 was also a very normal move. sh5. If I go h4, then maybe black can sacrifice. So I don't know if I want that. Maybe I'm just gonna play f3, make him take on d2, or the other move is knight g5. So let's see what he does. Yeah, knight g5 is logical because yeah, black wants to follow up with h4. So I think I can go h4, but maybe this makes things more complicated than it should be. Yeah, knight to h3, and then I expect him to take. Okay, knight f4 is the other move, but I don't think that black has enough compensation for the piece here, because yeah, I mean black doesn't have enough pieces on the king side to make this attack work. But maybe I am talking nonsense, because g5, and then eventually black will open the files, the g file. I can go f5 as well. Maybe that is the right way. I mean, I could have gone knight f1 as well and then play that position. I should be winning here as well, and also after knight f1. So yeah, g4. And then I'm gonna play knight f1 because I'm not afraid of g takes f3 and king takes f3. I think my king is completely safe on f3. There is no checks, and yeah, e takes f5. I can take on f5, but I think I'm just gonna develop my piece and later take on f5. I'm gonna just play knight e3 and just keep playing with all my pieces. Knight e3. Yeah, bishop e7, but now I think I can take on d5. And maybe it wasn't the best practical decision to open the long diagonal, but I think it should be good enough. Queen b3, I hit the f7 pawn. Yeah, why black plays bishop b7. Now I want to trade off the queens. Oops, I didn't see that. But it was luckily not a big blunder. Alright, I'm gonna collect another pawn. Queen e4. And this should be over very soon. I'm just gonna defend this pawn. And then, yeah, this should be fairly simple. Rook b1. I just put my my rook on the open file. Bishop g5. Oops, yeah, that was a blunder. Wow. Yeah, but I am making this way harder than it should be. I'm getting tired. Yeah, okay. I mean, wow. Jesus. I am missing everything. But luckily I am so winning that it doesn't matter. Okay, now I want to trade off the queens. Alright, thank you, Dangerous Ride. It was a tough game. I will try to accept a Hungarian challenge. Balázs Arató. I know him. I hope he's here. If you are not, then I will move on, but I was hoping that we could see a Hungarian fight. But if you are not here anymore, then it's okay. I'm gonna accept another challenge. I will play 2 more games. Let's see. Alright, I don't know. I did something that I shouldn't have done. But, okay. Luckily, I hope that he is here. Einstein. Knight f3, d5. I'll play e3. And play c4. This is like an anti-Slav or something like that. Yeah, so this is the anti-Slav, and g6 is one of the main moves. Black could have gone e6, bishop g4, bishop f5. There are many moves. Yeah, I'm gonna go b4 because I just want to make sure that we don't play some theory. b4 is usually a common move in these kind of positions because I want to gain some space on the queen side. So yeah, rook e8 is a logical move because usually black plays for e5 in these kind of positions. So I'm gonna take, and then wait, hold on a second. If I play castle, bishop takes f3, d takes c4, I can go queen c2, and if b5, then I can take, so that is good enough. So castle, knight d7. I think rook c1 is a logical move because I want to make sure that my pawn on c4 is protected. e5 is the right move. And maybe I shouldn't have played like this because e5 was the right move for black. So let's see. d takes c5, knight takes e5, knight to d2, knight d3. Yeah, that is not good. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it simple. Should I keep it simple? No. I wanna go b5 and then make a mess. Let's see what he does here. I mean, black has many options. Rook c8 is a logical move. I wanna take on c6, and I expect him to take back with the pawn. Yes. C takes d5, and yeah, with this I made him at least an isolated pawn on d5. So I think I achieved something. I mean, it's nothing like serious, but still, it is good that black has an isolated pawn, at least for the long term. I mean, it is good for me. Okay, queen d7. Is this a blunder or did he see this? So bishop b5, queen g4, f3. Knight takes, yeah. I think he blundered bishop b5. Yeah, if he didn't, then I'm in trouble, but I think after queen g4, f3 works out. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna play one more after this. So if you want to play me, challenge me, this is the last chance today. So yeah, unfortunately for black, it did not work out because I mean, after bishop f3, rook f3 would leave me a piece. But yeah, the game is not over, and yeah, I mean, rook c8 is a good move. I think I can go h3, but just gonna keep it simple with queen d1, and then if rook c2, then rook f2. I can also play bishop e2 as well, but I want to trade off the pieces. Yeah, I mean, rook c3 is a decent move, I believe, because that hits the pawn and the bishop. Yes, and I was wondering if I can play bishop b2, rook e3, bishop g7, and then queen d4. Maybe my opponent has something there, but let's see if that works out. I think it does. If he cannot take on e3, then I am just a piece up. Yeah, so he did. That was the only move that made the game going. I can trade. So rook takes f3, queen takes f3. I think that endgame should be winning for me. I mean, black has two pawns, but that should not be enough. And otherwise, I don't see a move for black. So takes, and then yeah, we go to this endgame, but it should not be enough. Especially that f5, now I win another pawn, and maybe f4. Just to keep more pawns on the board, and then I will stop the black pawns with my bishop. Bishop c6, bishop g2, and I take on g3, and this should be game over. Thank you, Einstein. I'm gonna play one more game, and let's see. If you want to challenge me last minute, then this is the chance. Alright, I can see that Semi-Cell challenged me twice, so e4. Then I'm gonna play d5, the Scandinavian, and play queen d6. I used to play this opening when I was like 13, 14 years old. It is a very easy opening to learn. That is the good part of it, but the bad part of it that this is bad. So bishop g7, I try to just castle, and with that finish my development. c6, usually this is the setup with black. c6, and then knight bd7. Yes, I mean, again, this is not the best opening that I could play against one e4, but this makes the position more complicated. I mean, you can see that we only traded one pawn, so that is usually good. This is a good weapon against lower rated opponents, because you can complicate things. So I try to win some space on the queen side with a5. Yes, that is the right move, a4. If I go b4 now, then knight e4. I believe that is his plan. But I'm gonna do that anyway. I mean, I want to keep my position healthy. Yes, knight e4. I'm gonna. It is not an easy decision to take whether I have to take on e4 and then queen c7 or not. But I think it is better to just return to c7 and then maybe later take on e4 if white lets me to take. Alright, takes. And now let's see what he comes up with there. Queen e5, this is the move that I was expecting, and probably this was a good move. Yeah, let's see. I think let's play an endgame. I mean, obviously I could have played something else as well, but oops, yeah, that was. Actually, I saw this move, but yeah, this was a blunder. Yeah, this can be, because I am tired and I have been playing for 1.5 hours, and it is not so easy to talk and play at the same time. But I hope that this is not too bad. I mean, I have a pawn and 2 bishops. So, to be honest, I don't think I am worse here. But I think if he plays this correctly, then he can put on some pressure. I mean, he can give me a hard time if he plays good moves. So yeah, rook e2. I just want to develop my position step by step. Rook d8. Queen g7. The problem is that it is not easy for me to come up with a plan. So I play bishop f6 to attack the h4 pawn. Now if g3, then sometimes okay, now I can just simply take on h4. I don't know if this was a blunder or not, but I assume it was. And now I play bishop c3. Yeah, now this was a blunder because now I can play this endgame with 2 pawns up. So luckily it was not a big blunder for me with the knight d7 blunder, but maybe objectively it wasn't even a blunder if you check with the engine, but still I missed that for sure, so I have to admit that I blundered that. So e5, now I have to make sure that I don't trade off the rooks, because that would give white more chances to make a draw. Rook e8. So now I'm gonna open the position. I have to open the position, otherwise it's not easy to make use of my 2 extra pawns. Yes, and now I'm gonna collect another pawn on g3. And then just simply push my pawns. Yeah, with h4, h3. It is not easy to stop this pawn because h3, h2, and the rook on a5. I mean, the rook on f8 couldn't go to h8, so it was not possible to stop it with the rook. And with that I can queen, and this is a checkmate. Alright, thank you so much for the games. I really enjoyed them. I had to play some warm-up games in the beginning because I was making some mistakes, and the games were not so good in the beginning, but I think I warmed up, and I hope that I could give you some tips or suggestions in the openings and in the middle games. So I think I will be back with another Banter Blitz. I don't know exactly when, but I'm planning on it. So if you want to challenge me next time, I will be here, and see you.
B3, A5. What do you think about this opening? Honestly, what do you think?
You don't have to play knight c3. We can actually put a piece on d2, which is better because then we avoid the potential doubling of our c-pawns.
What you have to understand about practical endgames as a whole is that just like in the middle game or the opening, you cannot rely solely on these general considerations.
Let's move for white. The chapter 21 is about the move 7b3, which is a sideline, but you should know how to handle it. White just simply wants to play bishop b2, knight bd2. Chapter 22 is about the move bishop e2. I play this myself with white. Basically, white just tries to avoid the b5 tempo. Chapter 23 is about the move 7 e4, which is one of the sharpest lines against the queen's gambit accepted. White sacrifices a pawn right away. This is one of those lines that you should study a lot. Chapter 24 is about the move 7 a4, which basically stops black from playing b5. Very simple idea. Chapter 25 is about the move bishop d3, which again kind of the same idea as the bishop e2 move, because white wants to avoid the b5 tempo. Chapter 26 is about the move 7 bishop b3, again kind of the same idea. White wants to get out of the b5 tempo. Chapter 27 is about the rare move knight bd2. It has been played by some super grandmasters lately, and I think people will start to play this more often, so you should check this out for sure. 7 knight c3 is chapter 28. This is one of the main lines, and the white wants to follow up with queen e2, rook d1, and then e4. Chapter 29 is about the move queen e2, which is kind of the same as knight c3. White will follow up with rook d1 and then e4. Chapter 30 is about the moves 7 d takes c5. I call this the endgame line because we will go into an endgame, and usually white doesn't risk much in this line, but I believe if you follow my moves, if you go through my lecture, then you should equalize pretty easily against this. And the last chapter is about the move 7 a3. White wants to take on c5 and then play b4, bishop b2. It is pretty logical, but it is also nothing special if you know how to play against this. We also have a quick starter guide, which is basically a summary of some of the most important lines in my course. There is also a model games chapter which has 10 pattern games. I believe those games will help you understand more about the middle games and end games that occur from the queen's gambit accepted, so you should definitely check those out as well. So I will show you one of the examples that I have in this course. Chapter 14, 7 knight d5 chapter. Let's check the very first game. So this chapter is about 7 knight d5 after the moves d4, d5, c4, d takes c4, e4. This is the sharpest line against the queen's gambit accepted, as I told you earlier. This used to be the problem of the queen's gambit accepted, and that is why super grandmasters stopped playing the queen's gambit accepted, because it used to give advantage. But in this course you will see the solution against this 3e4, and you will find equality with the move b5, a4, c6, a takes b5, c takes b5. This is the main line of this chapter. Knight c3. Obviously white threatens to take on b5. In generally speaking, white has a nice center. You can see that white has nice central pawns with e4 and d4, but white has a pawn disadvantage. So with knights a4, c6, ab5, cb5, knight c3, white tries to win a tempo on the b pawn and also tries to weaken our queenside pawn structure. So there is two moves here. One of them is a6, which used to be the main line but not anymore. I believe a6 is very playable as well, but in this course you will understand that the move queen b6 is better, I believe. So queen b6, kind of the same idea as the move a6. We just simply protect the b5 pawn. But it looks a little bit daunting, I believe, because the queen on b6 is a little misplaced. And let's see what happens if white plays knight d5. This chapter is about knight d5. So the knight d5 move looks very scary. At least when I first studied this, it looks scary because first of all, white wants to take on b6, but more importantly, white wants to follow up with bishop f4. So we have to move our queen, and white plays bishop f4. As you can see my arrow, knight c7 is a serious threat. So how do we defend against it? Well, if you don't know this position, if you never analyzed this before, then you may think that knight a6 protects the c7 square, but after the move knight a6, white would be able to take on a6, and after queen takes a6, knight c7 would give us a fork, and black would lose a queen. So I highly suggest you not to play knight a6, but if you go through my lecture, you will see that the e5 move is extremely good. We open the f8 bishop, but not only that, first of all, the f4 bishop is blocked now, so knight c7 is not an idea, or not a move here. So white has to take on e5, otherwise we would be completely fine. Let's see what happens if white takes with the d pawn on e5. Well, if white takes with the d pawn, then the next move is very instructive, I believe, because we play the move bishop a6, and with that the f4 bishop is completely blocked. White cannot play e6 anymore, and with that knight c7 will never work for white. And the bishop on f4 is simply misplaced. Meanwhile, we have very good pawn structures with c4, b5 and a7, and therefore black is already better. So d takes c5 is not a good move. Let's see what happens if white takes with the bishop. It is more logical, as now knight c7 is again a serious threat. So how do we defend against knight c7? What did we gain with this e5 move? Well, the main idea that we played e5 is that we opened the f8 bishop. So how can we use that to our advantage? Well, first we play knight d7, which is a very good developing move. It puts pressure on the e5 bishop, but you could say that we still didn't stop white from playing knight c7. Knight c7 is not a good move, you will see that in a few moves, but the main move is bishop f4 and bishop g3. There are other moves as well, so if you check my course out, you will understand more about this position. But let's take a look at what happens if white decides to go for this knight c7 fork. White wants to take the a8 rook. It is very simple. What do? We have to move our king, and white takes on a8. So did we just give up a rook for nothing, or what was our plan? Well, I told you before, we opened our f8 bishop. So how can we use that in this position? We play bishop b4 check, and that is the main idea of playing e5. Now the king is in trouble. Queen d2 is obviously not a good move, because we can just take the queen and then we would be winning. White plays king e2, that is the only other move for white, but after king e2, white blunders because queen takes e4. It is a checkmate. Yes, on move 12 it is a checkmate. It is incredible, and this is one of the main ideas of this 7 or 6 queen b6 move, because if white doesn't know this opening at all, doesn't know this fresh idea, then white can simply just go for this knight c7, knight a8, and then get checkmated on move 12. So if you study this move 7, 6, queen b6 a lot, then you can win a lot of games out of the opening, because it is very sharp, but it is good for black. So if you know the exact moves, the exact move orders, then I believe you will get good positions out of this line. You must know that there are 3 ways for you to learn on the Chessable website. One of them is that you can read my annotations move by move. The second is that you can watch my videos where I talk about every move in this course. And the last and most important way is that you can use the move trainer, which is a really good way to learn openings, because it makes you memorize the variations by repeating them. I myself use that as well, and it helped me a great deal. But in case you don't like my course, then you can get your money back with our 30-day money guarantee. I hope that you will like my course, because I worked a lot to deliver good content to you. You will not only learn about an opening that gives you a really pleasant position out of the opening, but I believe that your chess is going to be much better after studying my moves and watching my videos. I hope you will like this, and see you soon.
The Grunfeld is a very good opening for those of you who are striving to get a double edge.
In this video we're going to look at the latest developments in the 6 bishop g5 knight off.
I'm gonna start with sort of my first official Stonewall game.
The idea is not to fight against any opponent move, prevent everything, defend and so on. No, it's just to move.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the endgame with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess.